Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. Today, I've got something interesting. So I feel bad. I feel like I've been kind of phoning it in the last couple of reviews, and maybe I have. But I'm going to make up for it today. I've got something really cool and interesting. I didn't even know these things existed until a few months ago. Should have paid attention to how my lighting was before I started. So what we have here is a Spanish CETME L. Now, typically, when people, at least Americans, think CETME, the old Century Arms C308 comes to mind. I'll do a review on this one. I haven't even shot this Century C308 yet, or even this guy yet. Just kind of went on a CETME buying spree all of a sudden. But this basically obviously replaced the CETME 58 or CETME C. So, CETME, what they are the Centro de Estudios Técnicos de Materiales Especiales of Madrid. This particular here, the CETME L, was developed in the late 70s to replace the CETME Model 58, as I just showed. This big hunkamunka that eventually was chambered in 7.62 NATO. Did not start out in that chambering, but I'll save that video for that video. So the interesting thing about this CETME, a lot of you people are probably going, okay, so what? That's just a Spanish-built HK 33 or 93? And not really. Obviously, there's lots of similarities between the two. Kind of to go backtrack a little bit, sorry to keep bringing up the CETME C, but what everyone knows is the HK G3, or the classic HK roller lock design, was actually a license that they bought from CETME of Spain to make their design of guns. Started out with the 7.62 NATO, for HK that is. And then as NATO went on to the smaller calibers, when they switched over to 5.56, all HK did was they just took the G3 or the CETME C and basically just shrunk down or shortened the receiver, and basically they just changed around the parts to make it work for 5.56, and it does work. And you'll end up with something like this, which is basically just a CETME C, but smaller. Still need to do a review on this one, too. Sorry, guys. Actually, I've had this gun before I even started doing these videos. Just never did a review on it. Hard to believe that Century also made a HK build. But anyways. So, CETME, or Spain, went a different route with this. And while it still has that roller delay action, this isn't just simply a C that's been cut down to work for the 5.56. This is that basic essential design, but really the receiver is completely different. It's a little thinner. The owner manual the Marcolmar owner's manual on this keeps talking about how amazingly thinner this is than the HK93. And I mean, it is. But not like, a huge drastic amount. But anyways, my point is, this isn't just, like a Spanish copy of the 93 or 33. They did do their own thing. I just love the exposed heat shield there. I think that's pretty cool. So anyways, they started developing this in the late 70s to replace the CETME C. It is also the only roller delay blowback designed from the ground up specifically for 5.56. With the HK design, they just took their 7.62 and shrunk it down. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over. Sorry, guys. So the trials for this started in 81 and ended in 82. It won the trials. It wasn't until 84 that they actually got approval to be used for the military. And then production did not start until 1986. Not sure what the delays were there, or if that was just how the timing was. But production was from 86 to 91 for the CETME L. Also, to address the elephant in the room, for those of you who know what this is and are screaming at me, why didn't you get the green? So, the original CETME Ls, and really any of the CETMEs, maybe all of the Spanish military guns of this time period, were in this olive drab green color. I got the buttstock here. The entire gun, not just the furniture, the entire gun was done in this green color. The only parts that were not green would be like the trigger guard, your controls and pins, your exposed heat shield at the end here, and then from, the barrel forward would be black. But I mean, it is a green gun. And to be honest with you, I can't even remember. I'm assuming it was probably a Forgotten Weapons video I stumbled across. It might have been Military Arms. They've got 2 videos on these CETME Ls. Somewhere I stumbled across the video, and that freaking green just caught my eye. Going back to my nerdisms, recently I discovered this channel on YouTube. I think it's like a Mattel channel, but all they do is just play the old G.I. Joe cartoons 24/7 live. And I stumbled across that. I was like, oh, I'll click on it. It might just be kind of neat, nostalgia-y for me, to watch 5 minutes of it. I was born in the 1980s, so G.I. Joe was definitely my jam when I was a kid. Well, that 5 minutes turned into like 3 hours and 4 bowls of cereal later. I mean, I completely went back to my childhood there. So I've been kind of going through this, G.I. Joe vibe. And just seeing that in this green, and like I said, the entire thing would be green, not just the furniture. I mean, that to me just was screaming something out of G.I. Joe. Now, watching the cartoons, I haven't seen a single G.I. Joe gun that was green, so I don't know where I got that from. But yeah, so I kind of started doing some research on these. I had just finally decided to pick up the Century C308 and roll the dice on that. And I've got the the Century C93, the HK build. I was like, this would just be perfect for it. And even when it's not green, I mean, it's just this very unique and also kind of unusual look. So originally I was going to get it in green. The company that made this is called Marcolmar. From what I've seen, and I haven't shot this yet, but from my opinion, there's basically 2 companies you can get it. Marcolmar, Hill and Mac, or you're going to make one yourself. And Marcolmar definitely seems to be kind of the higher end as far as reliability in these builds. So I decided to get one. Marcolmar, as far as I know, is the only company. Yeah, Hill and Mac only offers it in the green. But what Marcolmar does is they offer it in the green, this black here with black furniture. You can also get it gray with black furniture. And then they also have what they call flat dark earth with matching furniture. And when I think flat dark earth, just to let you guys know, I think more of like a dark brown, almost olive drab green color. Maybe I'm just wrong on that. But the ones they have, it's like a real light kind of sand camo color, not camo, but color pattern looking. So, and that's the other toss up too. The greens for the Marcolmar, I've seen some videos where they're almost like a spearmint green. I've seen other videos where they're a darker olive drab green, which would be more correct for this gun. So I'm not sure if that's just watching it with different cameras, different lighting, or if I have a feeling the earlier ones might be a little bit lighter spearmint green, and then later on they went to the darker green. I'm not sure on that. I didn't really want to get the green after thinking about it because I knew I was going to try to leave it all original. If I got the green, I don't know if I would have gotten this Pickaninny rail, which is an add-on. They originally did not have that. Marcolmar has that as an option. Just makes it a lot more, it gives you a lot more options nowadays. Having a rail on top. I'm really looking forward to putting a red dot on this. And I've been kind of, I've been collecting surplus for so long. I want some guns to have, a little bit of freedom so I can change things and not feel bad. Unfortunately, this is in fracking CETME L, so there's not a whole lot of options. The color is one of those few options you have. Changing out the muzzle brake or the flash hider with a muzzle brake. I might be able to find some place that can do a trigger job on it or something. And that's, that's about it. So not a whole lot of customizing options on this, so I figured, screw it, I'll go ahead and get black. It's still kind of G.I. Joey. I'm just not, on the side of G.I. Joe. Now I'm fighting for Cobra Command. So, yeah, whatever. Still there. So that's why I got the black. Production, like I said, began in 86. That lasted until 91. And the production was done at, Empresa Nacional Santa Barbara. I know I pronounced that part right. But it was made at that factory. Today, that factory is now known as the Santa Barbara Sistemas. So, just so you get all that mispronounced information. The order was for 60,000 of these, which really isn't that many. And it was either Forgotten Weapons or Michiko that brought up, for whatever reason, they were under the impression that really probably only 50,000 was made. So it doesn't look like they made the full 60,000 order. I could be wrong on that. I'm not even 100% sure where I heard that. I know I did. I'm almost positive it's from one of those two guys. And if they said it, they have, a viable and realistic reason for saying it. So it's a real possibility. So 60 to 50,000 of these were made. I did see an interview with the owner of Marcolmar. Just so you know, that's spelled Marcolmar. And it's a real B to say. Saw an interview with him because I've been really trying to get an idea of how many they're going to have. They've been saying this is a limited, kind of production run, but I'm like, well, how much is limited? So I did see an interview with him where he stated that they had purchased 10,000 parts kits from Spain. Now, are they going to be joining 2 part kits together to make one good part kit? Are they actually making one gun per part kit? I do not know. I do know almost all of those were for the L. And they do have a few of the LC and LV models that they are offering at a much higher price. But those are, I believe the LVs, I think I saw somewhere where they said they had less than 700 of those kits. So this is already kind of an exclusive and very unique item. If you want to go above that, you can get the LC, which has the collapsible buttstock, very HK-like. But I'll get into that here in a second. So, Spain only used this from 87 to 99. They did not use it for a long time. They ended up replacing it, ironically, with an HK, the G36. Spain had a lot of issues with the old CETME. Most of it would appear that it can be traced back to the ammo they were using. It did not actually fall into the NATO spec for 5.56. It was a much hotter load than what it was supposed to be. And also, I'm guessing just from the powders they used, it was an extremely dirty round to fire. And if you've ever shot a roller delay setup, they're just dirty SOBs to begin with. So they're having lots of issues with that. Like I said, a lot of it can be traced back to the ammo. Also, the magazines. Now, these use, the Marcolmar ones will use a Stinag, traditional AR-15 magazine. These Marcolmars, they have actually optimized this magwell a little bit to work with these a little better. Because what Spain used, and I couldn't find the 30 or 20 round, but I did find the 15 round CETME L mag. They made these in 12, 20 and 30 round mags. You'll notice it's got this very kind of funky looking follower, and these lips here are actually kind of at a different angle and widened a little bit. The geometry is just a little bit off, and I think even your mag latch here might be slightly different. Like the original CETME Ls, you can get a Stinag mag and put it in there and it would work. I've seen lots of reports of the soldiers just getting frustrated with this. This was used in the Middle East with NATO and the Spanish soldiers. And there's rumors of the Spanish soldiers just ditching their CETME L mags and trying to get them from coalition forces whenever they could. And supposedly, they get in a lot of trouble, even trying to get their ammo. And I've seen several other sources say that coalition forces were even warned, do not use the Spanish ammo if you have a gas-operated firearm, just because it was so freaking dirty. So from what I've seen, it doesn't really seem like the gun itself was the issue. It just had, it was given horrible ammo. It had mags that weren't the best. The other weird thing about these mags is this floor plate. If you just push in on it, it goes up. So I could see very easily sand and debris and crap getting in there. Also, the quality control on these apparently was not the best. They'd find these with different thickness. The wax spots would be, slightly off. So the quality control just flat out to begin with was not the best on these mags, and then it wasn't really the best design either. Another issue that I've only found really one guy talking about this, so I don't know how accurate it is, but he also was mentioning about how the original barrels on these CETME were just garbage. One, to begin with, and this one does still have that light profile. They did not give these heavy barrels. But the original CETME barrel was chrome lined, and that chrome lining apparently, like after less than 1,000 rounds, would start to flake off, which obviously is going to give you major accuracy issues with that. So, once again, another issue, but it really wasn't the gun. It was just, cheap crap barrels. So, now we'll get on to some of the features of the gun here. I will be doing a shooting, impressions video later on. I'll also probably do an accessories video for this. I just really wanted to get, first impression video out there. These aren't very common. I haven't actually seen any videos of the non-green ones. That's not true. Military Arms. One of his videos, he actually does have this exact one, the black one with rail. Not this exact one, but this setup, black with rail. And shoots that briefly. So, up front here, the first production of the CETME would have a 3-prong flash hider, whereas this one has a full bird cage, and with a little 2 notches there. Very, very HK-esque. As you can see on this 93. Well, don't that look familiar? And then the first production, Marcolmar, from my understanding, all had the 3-prong. And then later they used the bird cage, I'm imagining just because, they had more of the bird cage than the 3-prong. But you can find the 3-prong out there on surplus. You can find lots of surplus parts for this. So, you should have no problem changing that out. The barrel length on the military CETME was actually 15.7 inches. So this barrel is ever so slightly longer, obviously, because in the US our barrel length has to be at least 16 inches. I do not know if any of those parts kits came with barrels. I was thinking like a recent importation thing, kits can no longer come with the barrels. I could very well be wrong on that. So I don't know how often or how common, if at all, the original CETME barrels are available. Like I said, you probably wouldn't necessarily want to get one because of that chrome lining flaking issue. Whoops, sorry guys, hope no one spilled a drink. But if you did get one, the 15.7 inches isn't a deal breaker because all you'd have to do is just pin and weld your flash hider on there, and that's going to make up for the extra little bit of length. And once it's pin and welded on there, it's considered part of the barrel, so boom, Bobby's your uncle. So then you have these. This is another thing I was going to touch on too. Marcolmar offers these as the CETME L, the CETME LV, and the CETME LC. Technically, the LC they're offering is the LC2. So this is straight from their little manual here. Here's our L. The LV, it's got a different kind of, it's like a scope mount basically on there. So the original LC, as you can see right here, it's this gun only with a collapsible stock. That's the only difference. Now, any of the ones with the collapsible stock, you can't just buy that stock and throw it on one of these or vice versa. That collapsible stock pushes a lot of the springs forward, so it actually has a different bolt carrier and bolt, maybe just carrier. Either way, you're going to have to change some internal parts. So that's not an easy switch over, just so you know. So the original LC was just a collapsible stock on a standard L, basically. And then they came out with the LC2, and that's really what Marcolmar is offering right now. So it's got that collapsible stock on here, But the barrel is also shorter at 12.6 inches. Now, if you buy that from Marcolmar, you're going to buy it with a barrel extension on there. So you do not have to have, the SBR permit, certification, tax stamp, whatever. You can buy it as a rifle. And then if you do want to SBR it, all you got to do is remove that pin and weld, unscrew that barrel extension, throw in your flash hider, Bob's your uncle again. Just that easy. So just so you know, technically, what everyone's showing off here as an LC, if we're going to get real technical, it's an LC2, even though most people still have that barrel extension on there. The other difference is the LC2 does not have your bayonet look. Obviously, it's a short barrel. Didn't need it. That's not the purpose. So, there's my LC2 rant done and over with. But it was just offered in those two barrel lengths, 15.7 and 12.6. The original barrel, like I said, was a chrome line barrel. It was a 1 in 7 twist with a thin profile. Now, Marcolmar, what they've done with these builds, once again, if you're really trying to get something as close to historically possible, as accurate to the original, unfortunately, this might not be your best option. There's the Hill and Mac option out there. Check out Michiko's video. He compares the two. There's my Michiko reference for the day. The Marcolmar ones are just all around a little bit better, but they don't have that historical authenticity features that the Hill and Mac ones, and at the same time, the Hill and Mac ones are missing a lot of historical type features that the Marcolmar actually has. So if you're wanting something like dead, accurate historically to the military had, you've got some decisions to make. Sorry for you. But what Marcolmar did is they took used parts kits, and they didn't just throw those parts in there. They refinished all of the parts. Now, for instance, the easiest way to tell is on the Hill and Mac rear sight. You can see the little number on there. Is that 4 and 2? Yeah. On the Hill and Mac ones, they just took the parts. I'm sure they cleaned them and then threw them in here. So the 4 and 2 is color filled. That's how they were originally. Well, Marcolmar took all the parts and they've refinished them all. So you're going to notice that the edges on this, it's not worn. And I just now noticed that's almost brown in the light. That's interesting. The mag release, you'll usually see that like almost in the white. But they refinished all these surplus parts. And then, of course, on the site, they didn't bother to redo the color fill, which I probably will myself. And for me, that's fine, because like I said, I'm trying to get some guns I can actually play around with a little bit. I know this isn't the best option, because I've got, 2 things I can do to this. So that didn't bug me, and I kind of like the idea, okay, well, it's a little bit, it's new, right? Like, if they kept the L around, and the Spanish military wanted to keep it, but wanted to make it a little bit better, and they came out with, a CETME L Mod 2, this would be the closest thing to that. So they refinished pretty much all of the parts. Then the springs, and they really are proud about this one. They talk about in the owner's manual about how they watched slow-mo video and, really paid attention to the timing of the rifle. So not only do they put in new springs, they put in higher quality springs, and they are at a different weight to kind of adjust the tune of the gun. Supposedly all for the better. Which, once again, I'm fine with. Some people can be like, oh no, I want that original spring. And I get that. I totally get that. I've got handguns like that, which is why I didn't want to get the green one, because I could see myself going down that path. So they took the CETME L, made it in the US, and they made it a little bit better. They tried to fix some of those issues. One of the other things they changed was the barrel. Now, I believe the original barrels had a phosphate finish, whereas the Marcolmar barrels that they're using are actually cold hammer forged. I couldn't find out if the original ones were cold hammer forged. No one ever mentioned it, so I'm going to assume they were not. But the Marcolmar barrels, they're cold hammer forged. They still follow that thin profile as the originals. They are not chrome lined, but they are nitrided finish. So it's going to give it a good finish inside and out. My opinion, it's going to be a much better barrel. Also, just today I was playing around on the Marcolmar website. You can get a heavy barrel. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, if you order one of these from Marcolmar, I don't know if you can order it with that heavy barrel. I would imagine you can. But at the very least, they do offer the heavy barrels on their website if you wanted to upgrade it. They also carry this profile barrel along with all of their new springs that they've put in here. So if anything wears out and you need to replace some stuff, you know, you've got some, you can get those parts at least for now. So yeah, they upgraded the barrel. And like I said, all of the CETME L variations did have the bayonet lug except for the LC-2. They did have a different handguard in the first versions of these. The original handguard was kind of a four-sided handguard, and it went all the way forward like you would see on an HK. It was a different shape. It wasn't a copy of their wide-body handguard, but definitely looked much more like that than what's on there now. Now, they quit using those. Apparently, they're having issues with the handguard just getting too hot. So their answer to that was lop it halfway off, get better cooling on the heat shield there, and apparently that fixed the problem. Now, I did see a lot of pictures of like Spanish, I'm assuming they're like police or some kind of military police, maybe they're border guards, but they weren't regular military. They looked like police. And almost exclusively, I would see them with the LC-2, which was that collapsible stock, and it would have the older, longer style handguard. The older handguard's not nearly as cool looking as this round one, especially with that exposed heat shield. I mean, that right there sells it for me. But if you really did want to get one of those, Marcolmar does offer those on their website for $200. Yeah, so if you want an inferior handguard, you can get one for $200. And in my opinion, it doesn't look nearly as cool. Although this is a little short. I like to kind of reach out there further. That's no big deal. It's almost, AK length there. I can live with that. And also, almost forgot. The original CETMEs had a drum style rear sight with protected ears that looked like this. So we'll add something much more like that. But they ditched it for one reason, was it was just more expensive to make than something that was simpler like this. And also changing your windage in the field on an HK drum sight. If anyone has an HK, they know you got to get a special tool. It's kind of a pain. Whereas this, it's just, you push it on that little detent, rotate that knob, and you're adjusting your windage. Let me get you guys a view of the other side here. Real quick, the sling that's on here is not original. CETME. Military Arms Channel, it might have been someone else, so excuse me if I'm misquoting. Did have a video, and he had a leather sling on his, and mentioned how it was specifically a CETME L sling. This one here is just an HK sling that I bought a while back. The slings are essentially the same. They still have that same style hook. The HK style sling hook, which actually is a CETME. Just like the HK slap is actually a CETME slap. Anyways, I just threw it on here because I had it. And my C93 had a carry handle on it, so what's the need? But the slings they would use for these where canvas is basically identical, or the exact same sling, as to what they used on the CETME C. And those are available out there as well. So, where was I? Like I said, they used the specific mag that had issues. The Marcolmar ones have been kind of optimized to work better with the standard Steneg mags. The Hill and Mac ones will use the Steneg mags. I actually believe it comes with one, but the CETME mags will also work. Now, I can't remember if I saw in the manual. Actually, I don't think it was the manual. I've seen a couple of videos where people mentioned that the original CETME mag simply will not work in the Marcolmar guns. So let's find out. I just got these parts the other day. Moment of truth. All right. Isn't that cute? She's in there. Ooh. What in the frack? Okay. The bolt's getting caught up like on the lips. Hold on. Let me see if I can lock this back. And just drop it. Let's bring her home. Yeah. Boy, that was rough. That bolt did not want to close. I wonder if it'll close now. Yeah, see. It shouldn't do that. This does not have an automatic bolt hold. Open. Oh boy. Okay. So real quick, unlike HKs, your bolt hold open on an HK would be your charging handle here, and then you would pull it back and twist up. As you can see, there's no little notch to twist up. Instead, you got this button, so you pull it to the back, push in. I guess you don't need to push that forward, but that will hold your bolt open. And you can either take the charging handle and pull back, it'll drop the bolt. Or what I recommend, as well does the manual, this little button on the other side here. Holy crap. Okay, it's just really stiff. Thought that magazine broke it. That will drop your bolt. So, there is our bolt hold open features. The magazine it comes with, by the way, is OK Industries. I have tried out a few other mags. And let me just grab a few here. God, that was my old man voice coming out. Did you hear that strain as I leaned over? That was embarrassing. Let me get situated. Okay. So, one of the most aesthetically pleasing mags, in my opinion, was just the old school 20 rounder. It fits in here, and all these mags I have ran the bolt. So they appear that they will cycle just fine. My C Products Dr. Pepper mag works in there. We're definitely rocking the Cobra Command style there. That guy fits in there. Now, a lot of the videos we'll talk about, and I'll tell you right now, P-mags do not fit. I did see somewhere, and I believe this was coming from Marcolmar, that if you file down a certain spot on the Magpul mags, they will work. And I found, well, it's not wanting to fit in there right now. Oh, there we go. Let me see if the bolt closes. I'm pretty sure I tested this. Yeah, it's good. It's just being stubborn. What made me happy, I found a polymer mag that does work. Your Lancer mags will work, and I did. There's not a whole lot of online information as far as, you know, people giving you input as to, you know, high round count, any kind of experience with it or anything like that. But the Lancer mags are known, apparently, to the CETME L world as being a polymer mag that does work. So I've got to get one. Well, if you had a green one, you can get this Lancer mag with that kind of green clear tint. That would probably look pretty slick. Lancer also sells mag extensions. I think it's like 3 or 5 rounds. So, you know, you've got that option too. Give yourself a few more rounds. So, there's that. Another thing that I will point out real quick, talking about how the Hill and Mac and Marcolmar CETMEs differ. The Hill and Mac CETMEs do not have this little lip right here. That's a shell deflector. They just cut corners and didn't put that on there. And that kills me right there. Like almost that right there, I was like, no, I'm getting a Marcolmar. And then I looked into it more and saw the other, you know, changes they did and made me want to get one even more. I saw the video of a guy that just got a Hill and Mac. He was pretty fracking excited, as he should be. Takes the gun out. Very first time shooting it. Mag dumps it. He's excited, super happy. Camera comes in. Dude, oh my, just from one mag. I mean, just big, no paint or no Cerakote. I believe the Hill and Mac ones are Cerakoted. I might be wrong on that. The Marcolmar ones definitely are. But I mean, it just marred the living hell out of that. Now, keep in mind, I've seen slow motion video of guys shooting these with that heat, or excuse me, with the shell deflector on there. And every so often, you're still going to get a shell that hits back here or hits down here. So if you're like OCD, especially with, you know, these kind of being an oddball gun, I see a lot of people getting these and not wanting to mar it up at all. You're going to want to get some tape and put it on there. Because it is going to chip away at that Cerakote. Also, that's another reason I got this in black. Kind of feel like any nicks or dings, you know, in a green's really going to jump at me and drive me nuts. Black, not such a big deal. Also, I've seen several videos, unboxing videos, And it almost seems like every single Marcolmar CETME has a blemish spot somewhere on it. I got pretty lucky with mine. Mine's not too bad, although I think I see another. So we got a little spot right here that I just now noticed. Pretty sure that's not new. I've been taking good care of this gun. And this one I know was on there when I took it out of the box. Just a little itty bitty spot. And you know what? When you got a black gun, that's a hell of a lot easier to touch up too. So no biggie there. Another cool thing is Marcolmar. So the MCM, that's Marcolmar. But the little gear and the sword, that is like the CETME logo, or maybe the emblem of the Spanish military. I'm not sure. But the original Spanish military ones would have that sword and gear in there in color field, just like this. Marcolmar threw in their MCM, which I think is kind of cool. And then the color fill on the other side would be accurate as well. The Hill and Mac ones do not bother with the color fill. Of course, that's something you could always do. Now, the downside is there's stampings like for the serial number and the model. They don't look like they're nearly as deep. Did I just leave a circular smudge on there that easily? Yup. Whereas these ones are a lot deeper, more clear. They're already color filled. The Hill and Mac ones, I'm not sure how close this matches the original ones. Basically, this nails the original markings here and here, other than it would not say CETME L. It would simply just say CETME. And then back here, you would have your selection for full auto as well. That'd be further down. Also, I'm not sure if it was S and F. Forgive me, I don't know what fire and safe are in Espanol. So minor differences there, but still pretty close to what it originally would have been. All right, where was on my notes? Original handguard, mags. I believe I already mentioned that Marcolmar did optimize this mag well to work specifically with the Stineg mags rather than the CETME mags. And for me, that's exactly what I want. For someone that's wanting something, 100% accurate, they might be bummed out, really want to use a CETME mag. So, and the CETME mags aren't too terribly hard to find. I cannot find any of the 30-rounder mags. I found that 12-round mag. It is pretty cheap. This advertises new old stock, and yeah, I buy that. Not even 100% sure if it will work. We'll have to test that out and find out, and I'll fill you guys in for sure. Already mentioned that. Now, they do mention, Marcolmar mentions a break-in period, so keep that in mind. And I have talked to some people that were like, yeah, there was definitely a break-in period. It was rough. And I've seen videos of guys using, Tula ammo, very first mag, and having no issues whatsoever. So you may or may not kind of have a break-in period. In the manual, they don't necessarily say use the 62 grain. I am saying use the 62 grain. They do say this gun is optimized for 62, but 55 grain will work in it just fine. Pretty much the people that I've seen that have said they have had a rough time with break-in period were like, yeah, no, I was using 55 grain or steel case. They also do not recommend using steel case in this. I've seen plenty of videos where people did it and had no issues, but just so you know. So there's that. Like I said, I haven't shot this yet. Plan on it soon. I've got like 3 rifles I've recently picked up that I haven't had the chance to shoot. Another thing that Marcolmar did is like I said, they changed out a lot of the parts. And they do have a little list in the owner's manual here. I'm just going to run through real quick. The frame, receiver, forgings, and stampings are U.S. made. The barrel is U.S. made. The mounting blocks / trunnions are imported. Muzzle attachment is imported. Bolts imported. Bolt carrier is imported. Trigger housing is U.S. made. Yeah, okay, so I took this apart to clean it, and I didn't realize the housing was U.S. made, but I took this out, and I was like, holy crap. Immediately I knew it was U.S. made. It was like really high quality. Looked great. I'm like, there's no way in hell. This was from the mid-90s or whatever. Also, I will say, read the owner's manual when you take this thing apart. I'd taken my C93 apart a million times. I figured it would be pretty close. Pull the buttstock off, pull the bolt out, trigger housing, and everything came apart just fine. Putting stuff back together, I haven't cussed that much in a while. Yeah. but I got things back together. I might actually do a teardown video and show you some of the kind of little tricks and tips. Basically pulling the safety lever out was a real B, and then getting the trigger housing or trigger pack back in was a real B as well. But I managed it, I got it. So just give you a heads up on that. Okay, so the trigger housing is okay, trigger, the actual trigger itself is imported. The hammer is imported, the sear is imported, the disconnector is imported. The buttstock is US made, pistol grip is US made, forearms and handguards are US made, magazine body, follower, and floor plate are also all US made. Now, my understanding is for as far as 922, and if you don't know, that's you have to have so many American made parts on a imported rifle. Does not apply to handguns. My understanding is that is for the manufacturer. Once they've manufactured it and Joe Billy Bob went and bought it, Joe Billy Bob can do to this whatever he wants. Now, on the other hand of that, do not take my advice. I'm just some guy on YouTube giving you legal advice, so do not take that at face value. You know, if that's something that concerns you, look into it. Make sure I'm not wrong, but I'm almost positive that's the case on it. Like I said, I don't think I touched on the furniture yet. Obviously, this is not green; it's black. But Marcolmar also went ahead and actually made their own furniture for these. Basically, because the old ones were getting pretty beat up. This is some surplus furniture here. This one is actually not that bad. I was surprised. So I got onto Apex Gun Parts, and they offered, you know, the buttstock. Did not offer the pistol grip anywhere that I could find. And then they also offer the handguard with heat shield. The handguard with heat shield was the same price as all three of these. I think the buttstock on its own was like $10 less than all three of these. Now you can buy all three of these, and like I said, the only place I saw the pistol grip was in this little package. And what it was surplus CETME L furniture kit from Marcolmar Firearms. So you know how Marcolmar, they're put new furniture on all this. They took all the old furniture and sold it to Apex, and now you can buy it back from Apex. So for all we know, this could be the very original furniture for this specific gun. I highly doubt it. A 1 in 50 to 60,000 chance. But just so you know, I thought that's pretty interesting. And in the picture, you know, the little thumbnail they had, this stock set for the whole kit looked pretty beat up, especially the bump stock, or the bump stock, my lord, the butt stock. So that had me a little concerned, especially considering how much cheaper it was from the other stuff. But I'm really happy. I mean, it was really gummy and gunky, but it cleaned up pretty nice. Obviously, there's nicks and dings in it. And this is just a cheaper polypropylene type of polymer. It's not nearly as good as... And holding these two, it's like, yeah, this is definitely much more high quality. Excuse me, belch. High quality. It's going to, you know, withstand impacts a lot better. This is some of those plastics... And I remember these from like the 90s. Like, it gets hot, it starts to get old. It almost feels like it's sweating or like grease is coming out. I think it's like decomposing in your hands. Another thing I will say real quick on the furniture, they do kind of seem to come in slightly different colors. As you can notice, under these lights, my handguard and pistol grip look like they match perfectly, but the buttstock is slightly off. From what I've seen of military pictures, it's almost always the pistol grip and buttstock match perfectly. And then sometimes the handguard will be slightly off, or it also will match perfectly. So maybe this is a mismatch. I don't know. Maybe this is just how it came. I'm a little curious how green furniture. Holy crap! I'm a little curious how green furniture is going to look on a black gun. I might have to. I mean, obviously that's what I'm doing here. I did get this. Just I wanted to see the original material. And also, even if I thought of even Cerakoting this, I don't know what color, but I'm kind of liking the idea of green and black. Another real quick thing, Michiko mentioned how the CETMEs actually have two different pistol grips. He says they look the same, but holding them, you can tell the feel is slightly different. And like holding these two, they do feel ever so slightly different, but this isn't on the gun. I have a feeling like once I put it on the gun, it's going to feel way different, but it does feel a little fatter. I meant to take my calipers and measure them. Boy, you guys can't see nothing there. I don't know. And also it could just be, you know, that the Marcolmar copy is not, you know, they may have changed a few things here and there. Oh my gosh. Where did I put it? Almost continued the video without mentioning the Bayonet. You can find these. I mean, anytime I can get a gun. Ooh, I have not cleaned this one up yet. Holy crap, it's grimy and sticky. This blade was pretty worn. There's all kinds of like, this beat to hell, man. But whatever. So, Bayonet goes on like your typical HK would above the barrel. Once again, if you're like really OCD about your gun, something tells me that attaching and taking off the bayonet a few times is probably going to chip up the finish, the Cerakote finish on your bayonet lug there. So let's keep that in mind. But there we go. Pointy thing equipped. And like I said, the original barrels are actually ever so slightly shorter. I mean, it doesn't even affect the bayonet. I mean, it looks like right where it's supposed to go, you know. So, no effect there, but there's your Bayo. Sorry. Okay. So, and then of course it comes in this little hard plastic scabbard. Oh my gosh. Guys, you do not know how grimy that feels. Ugh. My hand, and I apologize, got a Band-Aid on. I've never been so self-conscious about how my hands look until I started making these videos. Got like a little bit of perma-dirt on there. Didn't plan on it, but I ended up pulling out an axle on a Chevy Express van today. Never done that in my life. Holy frack, was it a cakewalk, dude. No C-clip to remove, didn't have to pop up the differential cover. It was actually surprisingly easy. So, anyways, hoping guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I will be doing a follow-up shooting impressions video and probably a accessories video. Also, want to give a big thank you to my favoritist FFL, Quick's Guns. If you're in the Kansas City area, it's a great place to get your firearm transferred. And they also make a really fire, really hot barbecue sauce. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's all I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed my G.I. Joe gun. Making this video has worked up an appetite, so I'm going to go in the kitchen, try not to set it on fire, making myself some pork chop sandwiches. Alright guys, stay shiny.